Michigan Conservative Roundtable. We're just like the five, only there's three of us and without Dana Perino. Today you're going to get another Marty monologue which has just the right amount of alliteration, and today I'm going to talk about education. Simply put, and most of you know this, K-12 education is awful. They don't really teach anything, and consequently the students don't learn anything. College is nothing but a bunch of shallow progressive goo in this day and age. That's not to say that there aren't good teachers at both levels. I'm going to give a shout out to my personal favorite teacher of all time, Dr. Carlo Grassi from the University of Detroit. 3 classes with him taught me how to think rationally, and my entire college education were worth those 3 classes. So there are good teachers out there, and you should find them. I can't remember who said it, but one of my favorite writers remarked that what you want to do with education is seek out the best wondering minds and go and sit with them. That means you listen and ask questions in turn, and you really look for the truth. And for me, that was Dr. Grassi, and I'm grateful always. So there are good teachers out there. As a bit of an aside, private schools, particularly private religious schools, tend to do a better job about education. And again, that's because they tend to believe in things, and it helps to teach if you believe in things. Which brings me to the real problem with modern American, and I'm going to stress public education. It's relativistic. It's relativistic. Everything is seen as okay? Well, not if you're conservative, not if you're seriously religious, but other than that, everything is seen as okay. Therefore, if a student comes up in a class and says, I'm transsexual, they support that. Now, they try to give themselves an out by saying, well, we're not teaching that, we're just accepting people as they are. Well, you know what? When you tell somebody something's okay, you are teaching it. So that out is really nothing but a chimera. They're not doing anything but trying to teach people to believe that everything's relative, anything goes, and we want to make you the best you that you can be, whatever that might mean, okay? Part of the problem, too, just comes down to methodology, and I'm going to give you 2 examples of what I consider poor teaching methodology. Science fairs and cooperative learning. And what do these things do? Well, they're designed to help the students learn by themselves or teach each other things to make them more open and more comfortable, and all that really happens is you get the students doing the teacher's job for them. Science fairs at best should be extracurricular, but they're not that way in most schools. What happens is they block off 1, 2, 3 weeks for students to work on their science fair project. And what's happening while the students are working on that science fair project? The teacher isn't teaching. What does that mean, practically speaking? It means we're not talking about science for those 3 weeks. We don't have a teacher there saying that this is true, this is true, this is true. In whatever branch of science you want to talk about, we've got kids floundering around trying to figure things out on their own with things that we already know, and a real teacher can be right there and actually teach those things to them. Science fairs take that off the board. Cooperative learning, likewise, it takes the job of the teacher off the teacher and puts it on the students. Basically, these methods are lazy and ineffective. They do not allow us to take time to cover enough, I should say, of the real subject matter of the schools and really help these students to learn to think. The teacher really should be an authority on whatever subject they're teaching, and we should approach education that way. C.S. Lewis says in The Abolition of Man, he uses Plato as an example, and this is a very bad paraphrase, but that basically the little animal should be taught to like and dislike what he ought. And that's what education should do. Education should teach people to become better people. Education should not affirm who you think you might be. Education should change you. Education done well should make you more intelligent. It should make you better able to see right and wrong, true and false, and gravitate toward the true and ignore the false. And the interesting thing is, if we actually teach the subjects, we give people skills, thinking skills, cognitive skills that will they'll transfer into everyday life. Math teaches us logic and logical progression. Science teaches us observation over time. History teaches us cause and effect. even things that are often thought of as fluff classes, music and art, if taught as true music and true art, teaches things such as harmony and beauty. And these are good things. These are all things not only kids need to know about history, kids need to know about basic math and science, but they're actually given skills that they can use in everyday life to become better people. In short, education should never make you the best you can be, whatever that means. Education should change you. At the end of a good education, you should be a different, better person. The misplaced emphasis, the real misplaced emphasis in American education today is that we act as though we're defined at birth, and we're not defined at birth. Okay? You're not just born this way. You're born something of a blank slate, and we want to do something with that slate. You're not something without definition. A kindergartner or first grader entering school, these are not people with definition. They're people without definition. And what education needs to do is give them definition. Then they can take their God-given talents and apply them to everyday life. So, bottom line, education isn't about making you a better you. It's about making you a better person. It is about changing you. That's your Marty monologue for today. As always, be safe, watch your six. Don't tread on me.